Stupid debate.
Hey! We're going to start the debate. We're going to watch. So we have Shadrach versus Central. Shadrach is pro-anarchism. Central is pro-government. Just some ground rules. If you interrupt each other, I'm going to knock off a minute from your argument. You may get 5 minutes within your argument, and then there's a 2-minute rebuttal. You're going to have 1 minute for an introduction. You have some papers to write down ideas. Economy, security, laws, and society. And just remember not to speak too quickly, and make sure that we all understand you and that we can all hear you. So we're going to start off with Shadrach. We want you to introduce yourself, your stance, but don't give any arguments.
My name is Shadrach for the Prophet. My stance is a free, governmentless anarchy society. First off, I'll let this set the record straight. By proposing that a stateless society is superior to one with a global government, I'm in no way claiming that a society will be a perfect utopia. 3 of the ages that plague our current society. Due to the fallen nature of man, due to its sinful, immoral tendencies, they will never exist as a utopia in our life. I want to make it clear that my point is that a stateless society is superior to one with a government. Not perfect, as nothing ever will be, simply superior.
Sergio, your introduction.
My name is Sergio, and I'm here to prove that a stateless economy or society is not superior to that of with a state.
Okay, so our first topic is economy, and we want each of you to explain what economy would be like in your respective governments. So, Shadrach, you have 5 minutes starting now.
Alright. Anarchy and economy. The economics of obtaining this and exchanging goods and services can be done through trade of 2 parties, a buyer and a seller. Both are free to their own assets. The value of these assets is up to these 2 parties, and both must be in agreement of the price and willingness to accept this offer or reject it. For example, if the seller has blankets and the buyer has food, or has a services on dollars to harvest this particular food, then we both are willing to freely trade. Then we make a deal and trade. However, if the seller feels as though the buyer may use weapons that he sold profits as a means of killing innocent people, then the seller is free to boycott the deal and not sell any of these weapons. A real life example are privately owned pubs. If the owner feels as so due to turn positive, then he can ban someone from this premise. However, let us pretend that the owner of one of these pubs bans a person from his services due to an illegitimate reason, such as the color of his skin. That person can either go to another pub or gather support from others that feel for this issue, boycott the pub owner's services, and pressure the owner to allow him back into his bar. Ultimately, no one is harmed and any means of destruction is avoided.
Sergio, you have 5 minutes.
Okay. The economy now is just free market. What depends what state going to Saudi Arabia is way different than the United States. Well, can't really explain the economy as we already have full functioning economy. One of the best economies I will I'll go in depth and this part and I'll just do 5 minutes. Okay.
Shadrach, do you have a rebuttal for Central?
Now your argument was that we have a free economy, correct? What's your stance on capitalism? Do you believe that we live in a capitalist society? Sorry, I tell you that true capitalism does not exist in America. And it is one not to blame for economic woes such as wealthy disparity. Corporatism is what we have in America, or calling capitalism. It is an intrusion of government and private industry that has produced monopolies and massive abuse of corporations. The unholy union between the government and industry is the problem, not the free market.
Okay.
His statement or his well, I have a response to his statement that this is what it works. Everyone is just gonna trade freely. That's not gonna work. If you're gonna trade guns with someone who doesn't have guns, why not just shoot the guy you're gonna trade with and take his goods? The only thing that stops from doing that now are the laws, the government. So like you can't just we're gonna trade, we're all gonna be people, it's gonna work out, we're all like good safe. No, it's not. Like and trading the food and the blanket, the example you use, the guy with the food just waits for the blanket guy to start and then takes the blanket. It would just make no sense. It would be complete anarchy. Anarchy where you support and there would be no chaos. You go back to like the caveman ages, basically Africa right now. Even they have government tribes, but they're still fighting.
Okay, that concludes the economy topic. Next, we move on to security. So, Trevor, if you're going to explain how security would work in an anarchist society, and if it will explain how security would work in a society with government. Trevor, you can start your secretary.
A common argument that people bring up when arguing against anarchy is that how governments, warlords, and criminals take over. Has this not been the case already? That politicians and government commit immoral acts such as taxation and commit wars without the consent of the population, that leads to violence and bloodshed on both sides of the war. It can be said about doubt that the death toll resulting from the direct action or government can extend well and attend the millions. Considering our violent American history, in the end, the rulers care not for the rights and well-being of the individual, but rather control, money, and power. For once, man is put in such a hoisted position upheld by this illusion that a particular person is to be hoisted above the rest. A symptom of this position is a hunger for power and control. Signs of these symptoms may not be evident at first, but through decades and even centuries of slow performance, abuse of authority is bound to show. This has been shown historically since the beginning of nations and empires, and ultimately can lead to their demise. Let me ask you, do you think humanity was always so manipulative, greedy, and hateful? Edward Bernays, also known as the father of propaganda, he studied the human mind with his knowledge, was able to incorporate social sciences and psychology into public relations. Rather than individuals, his clients were companies looking to sell their products. In the 1920s, the cigarette company Lucky Strike wanted to sell their cigarettes to women. However, obstacles faced them where women were not appealed to the green cigarette box packaging. A woman smoking in public was an abnormality. Bernays recommended to incorporate that greed into that year's fashion design. He also linked the cigarette to feminist movement at that time by showcasing it in a women's march and gave it a phrase Torch to Freedom. Lucky Strike even went as far as to make a statement to announce the support of women's rights. Ultimately, the campaign was successful and boomed their profits. Bernays' techniques have been used for other companies such as for bacon and harness and has advanced upon the public influence such negatives as showing the public for wars and propaganda techniques. Could it be that perhaps we can use the same techniques to try to spread ideas of truth that brought to war? Instead of selling consumer junk and murder people, we realize the truth. As I've realized this grand deception, I seek to rally onto one another, destroy goodwill, steer from hatred, and live your life to be great. In terms of anarchist society, it is possible to wake people up to truth that can turn people into more and more things. Like I said before, 50% there will never be utopian. However, by persuading people gradually, we can others to goodwill to troops rather than to become lost violent individuals. No good idea comes with an instant, meaning that the reason why I stress that is that anarchy won't just come right now. It has to come gradually to the education and teaching of people. To deal with those who want to harm or kill people, we must take more firm precautions in defending ourselves against defense. This includes use of guns and self-defense. In the event that the warlord tries to take advantage of the situation, there are still ways we can band together with others. For example, one of the main possibilities can be an app that alerts people of this danger, or an amber alert. We, as those individuals, will have to be prepared for this possibility just as we prepare for any hazards we may experience in life.
set up your argument.
Okay, so security, actual security, not feminism, what actually just, well, nowadays, is, you get in trouble, you go to the cops. It's a whole, like, it's a process that we have developed over the years to be perfect. You can't just depend on someone else, like in an active situation, to defend yourself. Let's say 5 people break into your house, you can call the cops. In an ungoverned society, what the fuck are you gonna do? You gonna fight them off? You can't. You can't just fight off 5 men breaking into your house. And you're not literally trained because there is no economy, so you can't get lessons. But I'm not gonna go into the whole lesson for the economy because basically the security we have right now is almost at the peak of perfection.
Based on your points, it sounds like you're saying that we're nearly like utopia. Would you say that there's been, when you say the peak at perfection, you're saying we're utopia? Would you say that cops perhaps abuse their authority? Also, you say that 5 people enter your house on 911. Well, how long do you think the cops will be there? By the time we're there, they won't be asking questions. They will be taking pictures of you as a dead body. So that's why you should be prepared to defend yourself and be prepared for any situations. And as for your feminist remark, I think you may have gotten that confused. I made that point since the Lucky Strike company used feminism to promote their products. And it worked very well for them. That's one of the reasons why you see women smoking. Because before then, it was a taboo.
Okay, but how's women smoking compared to security? It's not. It's just irrelevant. Your argument was all irrelevant. It was not security. You didn't bring up how to defend yourself. You didn't bring up what if people broke into your house. And why would you be dead if 5 people broke in? You probably run out of the house or hide. 5 people break into the front, go to the back, it's not rocket science. You call the cops. They take a few minutes to get there, yeah, but they'll get there. Instead of no one showing up and losing everything you have. That's why security wouldn't work in a non-anarchist society. And how would you learn to defend yourself? You're not just born knowing like martial arts or how to shoot a gun. You need to hire services with an economy, which in a non-governed state you would have no economy. And I'm not covering the economy right now, but you just wouldn't know how to secure yourself. You can't just depend on everyone. Oh, everyone's a good moral person. You're not gonna attack. There's people shooting schools for no reason. 70 people died recently because he wanted to shoot him. Now he's in court saying, "Oh, I'm mentally ill." It's not. He's just messed up. He is ill, but there's no reason for that. You can't just defend yourself. Like they would just assume, "Oh, he's coming at you, defend yourself." No, that's 70 people died. You can't just expect everyone to defend themselves.
Okay, that concludes the security topic. We'll now move on to the laws for Shadrach's case, perhaps social norms. Shadrach, would you present your argument on how laws would be
Yes. Yes. This one will be a little different. I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions I'll give you to think about. Which this one, so tell me. Is there any mean by which what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a question, I want you to process it, and after 2 seconds say yes, I move on to the next question. Is there any mean by which any number of individuals can delegate to someone else the moral right to do something, with none of the individuals themselves having the moral right to do? Do those who wield political power, whether presidents, legislatures, or whatever, have the moral right to do things while other people do not have their own right to do? And if so, from whom, and how did they acquire such a right?
We have the right. It's a democracy.
Wait, are you finished here?
No. It's 5 questions. Then the third one. Is there any process or form like constitutions, elections, or legislation by which human beings can transform an immoral act like threats, violence, theft, and murder into a moral act without changing the act itself?
No, that's like changing the law.
Very rhetorical question.
when long these are rhetorical questions make me think. However,
Yeah, it's true, but-
however, answers are welcome. When lawmakers and law enforcers use coercion and force in name of law and government, do they bear the same responsibility for their actions that anyone else would who did the same thing on his own? When there is a conflict between an individual's own moral conscience and the commands of political authority, is the individual morally obligated to do what he personally views as wrong in order to obey the law? So tell me, what is this?
Pages worth of the patriarch.
What you bring did you use?
Tell me, why was the Patriot Act installed?
Because we got bombed by the guys screaming death to America in South Africa.
Very commentary. Now, would you say it's improved society or
Yeah, way, it improved it a lot.
how so?
It spies on everyone who is making a bomb. It's literally made to stop terrorists.
Are you saying it's by you approve of the government violating privacy?
Yeah, what do you have to hide? Are you making a bomb? Are you a terrorist? Then no, you shouldn't mind. The FBI, they made a meme out of the meme, like the FBI guy. It's just not.
Well, let me give you these 2 key points. Did you know that with the Patriot Act, the federal government may now monitor religious and political institutions without suspecting criminal activity?
Can the audience please settle down?
You need a dabble, bro.
Yeah, well,
Generous.
and political institutions without suspecting criminal activity to assess terrorism investigations, a violation of the First Amendment right of association. And did you also know that the feds can now close to the public once, open immigration hearings, and secretly detain hundreds of people without charge while encouraging bureaucrats to resist freedom of information requests, a violation of Amendments 5 and 6 guaranteeing due process, speedy trials, and freedom of information. The government may prosecute librarians or other keepers of records if they tell anyone in the government supposed information related to terrorism investigation, which is a violation of the First Amendment right of free speech. The government may now monitor conversations between federal prisoners and their attorneys and may even deny access to lawyers to Americans accused of crimes, a violation to the Sixth Amendment right to have legal representation. The government may now search and seizure individual and business papers and effects without probable cause to assist an anti-terrorism investigation, a violation to the Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable searches and seizures. The government may jail Americans indefinitely without a speedy trial, without a trial or charges, a violation of the Sixth Amendment right to a speedy trial and an individual's right to be informed of the charges against them. Yes.
Okay, so your whole argument was against the Patriot Act, made for people who want to kill us. They scream, go death to America over there where they want to kill us. It's made for that. And besides that, I'm also going to go past the point that you just didn't argue how the laws would work in an anti-government society. Just get the way out of that, because there is no law.
Okay, this is no problem.
I know it's hard.
We can't go against the argument yet.
Well, basically, we need laws. Like, the Patriot Act is made to keep us secure. They're not spying on you, watching whatever you, 4chan, whatever you're fucking on. They're not spying on you completely. They don't have the people to do that. Unless they have a bunch of monitors, maybe, but even then, they won't spy on you. You can't just use that, oh, they're spying on me, oh, down the government. You can't just do that. They have actual bad people out there looking on the websites for, like, bombs and shit. You can't just bring up, oh, they're spying on us. Like, if everyone's good and everyone's like, no one's bad. There are some bad people out there, and which is why the Patriot Act was made. 9/11, the bad people, they weren't surveillance. That's what happened. 9/11 happened.
Should I break here 2 minutes to rebuttal?
So what you're telling me is that you'd rather give up your freedom just for security. If you do, you deserve no freedom, no security. And to support my whole anarchy, what's the word? Rebuttal. Is that I bring this up to show you that because of government we've become very totalitarian, tyrannical. That the government says we can sign whatever on paper and call it law. A law is just an opinion backed with a gun. If you disobey those laws, well, bad people come to your home and point guns to you, and there are consequences to that. And now some of these laws are ridiculous. For example, if I went out and want to do a lemonade stand, did you know that you need a permit for that? And to some of you, it might not sound too much, but why would you need a law dictating your own private business? What you do between you and the seller is between you two. A third party intervening will conflict that issue.
Okay, so here you have 2 minutes to rebuttal.
A third party intervening would prevent illegal actions. What if you're studying lemonade and there's crack cocaine in there? You ever thought about that? Private businesses, that's what people with illegal businesses do. They don't go through the third party, they just go straight to sell it at Debayt. And like, you didn't, going back to my rebuttal, you didn't support your anarchist laws. There is no laws. Like, what if someone killed someone? Like, what do you do? There is no law, there's no punishment, there's nothing to do. Like, there's no control, it wouldn't work. In your anarchist society, it just wouldn't work. There's no control in Africa. Even Africa has laws. They start 5, 10 But, like, as a Patriot Act, you bash it, but no, you bash it because of conspiracy theories that, like, nuclear alien UFOs from North Korea are spying on it. It's not true. It's just completely false. We're going to mention that jet fuel can't melt steel beams, but no, your argument was completely like invalid. You brought up points that weren't on topic because you were supposed to point out how the laws would work in your society of
Thank you. So we just finished the topic on laws. We're going to move on to society, and this is so we had laws and society separate from laws. How would a society work in an anarchist government, and how does society work? Or how would it work in the government? Shadrach, start your.
The initiating of unwarranted force upon someone is undoubtedly immoral. There is no argument about that. I, as a human being, have no moral authority to go up to someone and demand their money. To be more specific, a cancer patient searching for an alternative cure to her illness grows a marijuana plant in her backyard. He does this as a means of overcoming nausea caused by chemotherapy. Since this is a matter of just himself, he is hurting no one. No crime has been committed. He has not initiated force on anybody, nor is he stealing from anyone. He has had no interaction with anyone, and here comes the Fed, who was willing to knock down his door, put guns in his face, and by means of force, take him from his own property, which by definition is kidnapping and throwing him into a human cage. This is immorality on a peaceful citizen. To make matters worse is that this is done through initiating force by stealing hard-earned wages from its citizens. Taxation is legalized theft, which is another form of initiation of force. Just as stated previously, we can prepare ourselves to not allow. Just as stated previously, we prepare ourselves to not allow such evil to rise. That is government again. Since the economy runs on the philosophical principle of voluntarism, one can build themselves up on the ground.
I'm sorry, Shadrach, but that seems like we're talking about laws again. How would a society as a whole function?
Voluntarism.
I'm sorry?
Voluntarism.
Voluntarism? Could you explain that a little more?
This is the belief that no initiative force like the ones I mentioned there. That's why I brought those examples, such as the feds kicking down your door and guns to your face and forcing you to pay taxes. That's not a thing, because in voluntary methods you can do things like, for example, when I mention taxes and theft, you often get the argument, but what about the roads? See, People like to be entertained, which is a reason for them paying expenses for movies or video games. People like to nap, which is why we buy beds. People like to mobilize and travel, which is why we get cars. When there is a demand, there will be a supply given to by someone as seen with past creation of inventions. These and advantages have benefited everyone. The example of voluntarism. Case in point is the creation of Uber. A demand was needed for an easy way to get around areas about the need of a privately owned company taxi. This being that they have perks that the cabs do not offer, such as availability of a rating system, giving the customers a choice as opposed to government. We can build the roads for our own leisure for travels and mobilization. Nothing. The same goes for education. Our government, how can we possibly continue to learn and advance? Well, consider the inventors of the past. Did they do as a requirement? Were they forced against their will to learn or invent? These people, these people questioned for knowledge and wanted to improve the world, not monopolize or deceive it. Like services that benefit everyone, which is how society functions, both economic and social economic terms. Which like services that benefit everyone,
So should I speak a little louder?
like services that benefit everyone, including the provider, they benefit humanity and are meant to be spread, even without governments, and we can maintain ourselves. Anarchist society runs by us maintaining ourselves, and through voluntarism, we we can say we can build the roads. That's the same reason why we go out and say, hey, you want a bed? And you want a nap? Then why don't you go buy a bed? You want to travel? Then you go out and build the roads.
Okay. Second, you have 5 minutes to argue for society.
Okay, so society right now is
You see what I'm
society right now is good. We don't need a changed society. We don't need to live by ourselves. We have the government to help us. Why would they? The whole marijuana thing is already getting legalized in some states. Like people have realized, oh, it's fine.
Good. Quiet down. I can't hear. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And people don't break into your house. If you're sick and you want to smoke pot, go to a legalized state. And it's for those reasons they won't break down your door unless there's like someone tells like snitch on you. Why would they just break down your door randomly? They don't smell it. They don't have like dogs for it. Unless yeah, they have dogs, but that's usually on the tip that they gave the police. And you never well, that's really good. The society right now we have is just based on supply and demand, a real supply and demand. Not just supply and demand but laws. So that would be just supply and demand and just take what you want. Like before how I brought up the guy with the gun, teaching someone else who doesn't know how to use a gun, killing them straight up, no laws. And then taxation is legalized that? No. That's stupid. It's literally weak. How'd you get a school today? To buy that road. How did they pay for that road? Taxation. You can't just depend on someone, oh, they'll make a road because we all want to use it. Why would anyone do that? You have to get paid, and the way to get paid is by taxation. It's not just legalized stuff. And voluntarism, that's a utopia thing. Everyone's just gonna volunteer, be happy, build the roads, get each other food. That's not gonna happen.
That sounds like a rebuttal. You just more argumentative.
Yeah. Well, I'm not
Generate your rebuttal.
I would argue that volunteerism is a thing today. For example, why I think you have things like homeless shelters. People go out and being the homeless or going out to go out of the way to provide services. It goes back to something simple as, hey, you see trash on the ground, you pick it up. And that's something as simple as volunteerism, where you feel a moral duty to do something because it's wrong and you know that you gotta do something about it. Which is why I made the point back earlier, connecting this all, that we could teach people to say, hey, like to the methods of the father propaganda. It's called propaganda sounds cool. This individual, we can say, use these techniques instead of sell junk and war and all this propaganda to us. We can say, hey, why don't you show them truth? Why don't you show them like we don't have to be like this? Humanity is not always supposed to be this, greed and all that stuff. Why don't you say, okay, this is what's going on, and it doesn't have to be this way. So that's what my argument to voluntarism. And that I believe that if you want to see example of voluntarism, then just look at me. Because I, the truth I found on the tape, this is something bad that needs to be changed. And that if an event that an anarchist society does happen, I will build the roads, I will please volunteer to help build roads, to help because I know I'm not expecting me, I'm benefiting everyone. And I believe that that's the mentality that we do things to benefit not just
So
ourselves.
it sounds like you're continuing your argument. Do you have anything against your argument?
Maybe repeat your points.
The society we have.
Society we have right now. It sounds like you're selling for less. The society you have right now, taxation is indeed legalized debt. The hard wages you earn can be taken away from you all just because they have this belief in authority. Tell me, if I went out to take your money, would you punch me in the face?
No, because it's wrong.
Yeah, you don't.
Sorry, the time's up. So go your rebuttal.
Alright, that volunteerism example is very small, not good enough to provide a full functioning society. Picking up the trash is not going to keep everyone in line. It's just not. And you're not just gonna, let's get a bunch of people out here, build the road. It's so hot out there. You wouldn't do that. You're saying you would, but you wouldn't. And taxation, no. Not. You're on the roads, yeah, I already explained that. And like, no, it's just, the argument is just that, oh, they're feeding from us, everyone's gonna participate and build the roads together. That's not how every like single human being or anyone who is right in the mind would be like, no, what do I gain from that? And that's why people made a government. Like, oh, we'll give you currency. Because in a governless society, there would be no currency. Like they trade really good. And even then, that would go back to stone man age. I would want to go back to that. Even like Nikolai Tesla, like, he was an inventor, and even he thought like, although he did create inventions, he didn't want to just get it out for free. No, it's dumb. Just giving stuff for free is dumb. It's not the way something functions. It's just gonna still like road. Oh, do this. No. In a capitalist, full functioning society, you would do something for something, not just do something for everyone. That would be a utopia that you want, not an anarchist society. And even a utopia would have democracy.
So that concludes the topics. We're gonna give each Shadrach and Sethiel 1 minute for concluding remarks. And after that, the judges will meet together to make a decision. So Shadrach, you have a minute to conclude starting now.
Yes.
Go on.
The thing I believe is in freedom.
Can you speak up?
Well, I put my one back up here. The thing I believe is in freedom. We as a people are not to be a domesticated species, but not by no mortal man. We are meant to be as one. Once with wings of destiny, we are kings of thrones. Now is the time for change. Once we see each other as equal men, we now achieve new heights unimaginable. No matter what, fight for what is right. No matter if it contradicts a mere law or insignificant paper, or anti-signature with no right to rule. Always look for greater. Fight for freedom. For a life without freedom is one with no meaning. It's best to die a free man than a peaceful slave. Stand up for what is right and own yourself and declare freedom. And declare yourself a free man with a reward for freedom is eternal diligence. Be thinkers, not workers. Fight against oppression. If you believe in unity, then believe that you're not alone. On the path of glory, on the path of glory, search the rainbow's end. And most of all, never, never give up hope. God bless you all.
Okay.
Sethiel, you have a minute.
Okay, it's not rebuttal, but it's completely explain something like the U.S. No, he just explained the U.S. It's just supposed to be supporting an anarchist society, which is like freedom is not a thing there. It would just be complete chaos. Everyone killing each other. You wouldn't die of humanity. You would just die of a baby. And then be thinkers, not workers. That voluntarism is the be working, not thinkers. Just work for people. No, you think you're going to gain something. You can't just quote something inspiring and then just think it's going to support the government society. It's not. So basically, we need
Can
society.
you guys quiet down? We're listening to the conclusion.
You can't just depend on no society, no laws. That would just not turn out well. It won't work. And your conclusion didn't support any of your topics. You stated some weird stuff, didn't even cite it. And like, it's a governance society will just not work. The way you're thinking it is from your personal view. You're thinking, oh, I'm just gonna live, fish, survive. It's not gonna work. People in an anarchist society, a simulation would be a bunch of people gathered together in strong powers and take over the people, and that's the government. And the only reason that would happen is because it's the way it's supposed to happen. Even in the Bible it states we need control, not chaos. Where in the Bible does it say that? Exodus chapter 7, verse 20.
What does it say? Or do you want me to look it up?
Go ahead.
Somebody's supposed to do before the debate.
Okay, no, I just won't include the regions. Forget that.
What? Well,
Yeah.
because can I ask both of them questions and just destroy both of their arguments at the same time? Okay.
No,
Stop.
I'm not part of the debate.
Wait, you don't need to-
Yeah.
Okay, so that concludes the debate. Shadrach and Zachary, please shake hands. Yeah, you have to stand up.
Stand up.
Why would I stand up?
That's disrespectful. by the way.
Just stand up.
Now, judges, can you like speak together to decide?
What's the difference?
Shadrach going.
And then at the end, you can destroy their.
Less about who is right and more of who is more but yeah, just the audio. I hope it picked it all up. Just the audio though. Shadrach, okay, you said you're arguing for anarchy, right? You're actually arguing for anarcho-communism. That's like the literal opposite side of the spectrum. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's another debate for another time. I'm just telling you.
Shadrach, what do you think about flag burning?
What
Flag burning. Flag burning.
Shadrach, you said that you believe that humanity is inherently corrupt and always tends toward sin. So, say it.
I believe that, like I said, like one of the ways that we can do that is for propaganda like this. Instead of say, hey, so like this, like almost like find fire with fire. Say, hey, this is what's going on. You can tell the truth, maybe inform them or realize how like it's not what that is the way it is, and I'm sure.
Wait, are you the judge?
Reforming them is how to foster this voluntarism.
That's hilarious.
So you're reforming the person that's can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, so through this idea of reforming a person is how you would get them to volunteer their actions. Like you would show them that you would reform them so that they would be willing to volunteer for public works, I guess.
I think we should have a post-press conference.
I have a few questions.
What is the judges decide?
Okay. So, where we go? Okay.
So the agreed on was both of you arguments sucked in.
were prepared and used straight off topic a lot of times. But we went through everything, and overall, we believe that the winner is Steffi.
Democracy. Are we done? I know. What?
Raise your hand if you make a
I love democracy.